Hi Vedant, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Tell me.
Okay. So, how about we go ahead with a short introduction of yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Vedant Daigone. I'm currently pursuing my bachelor's degree at PICT Pune in information technology. And currently I'm working as a SD intern for the last 11 months at Upstox.
So, like, how are you feeling working at one of the India's biggest stock exchange platform, Upstox?
I mean, it's great. Like the team is really nice. There are many senior developers who, like, from whom I get to learn a lot of new things and technology and all.
Okay, so you got the PPO here, right?
I haven't got the PPO, but my manager has promised me that he will give me the full-time offer by the end of Jan 2023.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what do you think? How hard it is to get a PPO? Like, if you join as an intern, and how hard it is
hmm
to get a full-time offer?
It's easy to get a PPO at Upstox unless and until you show up every day at stand-ups and all, and you perform all the tasks within the given deadline. Yeah, it's
Okay.
easy to get a PPO. Yeah.
Okay, so do they have stand-ups every day?
No, we just have to work 5 days per week. So, but sometimes if the production error occurs and there's a issue in production, we might have to work on weekends as well.
Okay. So what is your work here?
Uh,
Like you mentioned SD, but what actual happens in
yeah.
SD?
So in SD, you can expect to get to work in front end and back end as well. But
Okay.
mostly, I get back end tasks only.
Okay.
But sometimes if the front end folks are not available, I might be assigned front end tasks as well. So in front end, we have Next.js and we use Spring Boot at the back end.
Okay. So how did you learn these technologies? Like let's say I'm a college student, I'm in first year, let's say,
Hmm.
and I want to learn all these technologies which are required to get into these companies. So how can I learn it?
Yeah, so initially I didn't knew about Spring Boot and all. I learned Node.js in the college. So,
Yeah.
but the fundamentals and basic knowledge, like they are kind of similar in all the frameworks. So I learned Spring Boot from a YouTube channel which is called Java Brains, and then I took a Udemy course from in 28 minutes. I don't know the exact name of the author, but I think it's in 28 minutes. So he has a 46-hour long course. So
Mhm.
he teaches everything about Spring Boot in depth. Uh,
Okay. So,
mm,
like whenever college student is there, he or she is in first year, like they run behind
yeah.
CP, and like this is a common myth
hmm
that without CP you can't get a good placement. And basically,
Yeah.
it's a peer pressure also because you see that all the seniors are doing CP. They are just every day, like every time they are on their PCs doing lead code and code chef, hacker rank. They have solved like 600, 700,000 problems. What do you think?
hmm
Like, is CP overrated or it is actually that much important?
Actually, CP is important because at the end of the day, like everyone wants to get placed in a good company, right? So
Mhm.
in the final year, we have seen like many companies come to the college and they mostly hire on the basis of technical skills, like on the DSA knowledge and all. So all the technical rounds they are based on CP only.
Okay.
So I think DSA and CP are kind of important, but they are totally different terms. So DSA is just the basic knowledge that is required for getting placed into a good company. But when it comes to CP, it's like getting taking part into competitions where you get to know whether how skilled you are in DSA, where you stand when it comes to testing your DSA knowledge and all. So that is where CP comes into picture.
Okay. Do you practice CP?
No, I don't actively practice CP actually,
But you do
but
practice
I
DSA,
do
right?
DSA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So I practice DSA on lead code, mostly
Mhm.
on weekends, and especially if I have an interview scheduled. So I will go through a couple of topics that company asks in interview. So I will go to first of all I will go to Geeks for Geeks. I will read through the previous interview experiences, and I will check all the topics that they have discussed in the technical rounds, and then in lead code we have the option to sort the questions based on those topics. So over there you can practice DSA questions in for those topics.
So like are easy problems and medium problems enough, or we have to do hard also?
No,
What do you think?
yeah, we have to do hard because
Okay.
the logic that is involved in easy questions, like you can find it in hard questions. So one single hard question may contain the logic of 2 to 3 easy questions. So it's better to solve medium and hard questions. In the beginning, you can start with easy questions, but later on you should move on. Like you should start with medium and then proceed to hard questions.
Okay. So like when we talk about easy, medium, and hard, like which all data structures you will put in these categories? Like which all data structures are easy to learn, which are hard to learn, according to you?
See, arrays, strings, these are kind of easy to learn when you are just starting learning DSA. But later on, trees, graphs, and segment tree. Segment tree is kind of rare topic when it comes to technical rounds. But trees, graphs are the ones like they are just a pain in the.
So do like you accept that even if you are applying for a web developer or app developer job, you need to
Yeah,
be like very good in DSA. Like if
yeah.
even if it is a app developer or web developer position, you have to be like good in DSA, right?
Yeah, see, I haven't given any app development interviews, but when it comes to web development, people generally ask DSA questions because, see, they have multiple applications. They have a lot of candidates who want to apply for that position. So they are left with, like, they don't have any option rather than to test their DSA web development skills, right?
Hmm.
They will have to take 2 hours of long interviews testing their web development skills. So what they do is they will schedule a 25-minute call and they will test out your DSA skills, how quickly you can develop logic and solve any question. So like that is what companies do. They don't want to spend much time in interviewing candidates and all.
Okay, like how was the interview process for Upstox? Like from filling the form till getting placed there, like complete flow, if you
Yeah.
can tell.
So in Upstox there was an internal opening. So I
Okay.
used to cold mail companies. Like I was looking for SD internship in like December 2022. So I used to cold mail all the careers email of many companies. And one day I got a mail from Upstox. Like I think I received the mail after 10 days when I cold mailed them. So after 10 days, I got a mail from the HR. Like they said that they have an opening for SD intern, and like would you like to get like give the interview and all. So
Okay.
he scheduled an interview with the one of the technical managers, and he took my interview. So during the interview, he said that I don't have much of DSA skills. Looking at my interview, he said that like I may not be good in DSA, but my development background is quite interesting.
So you
So
directly
what
told
he
the
did was,
interviewer?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So he asked me whether he should take my interview DSA based or development based. So I told
Hmm.
him that if you ask me DSA questions, I won't be able to crack the interview. But then he was kind of okay, but because it is a startup, they want people who can actually code, like build a platform. They don't want to spend much time in training people and then they can put them in the project. So
Okay.
he took 2 hour long interview and he asked me to create a real time project in that 2 hours. And side by side, he was asking me a few questions as well.
Okay. So like only one interview and one interview was there, or like multiple rounds were there? Then let's say one was MCQ based round, another was interview round. Like in many companies it happens in this flow. Then finally there is
Yeah,
an
in
HR round.
yeah. Yeah, in
Yeah.
Upstox, they have multiple rounds. So they generally have two technical rounds, and at the end they have one HR round. But since this was an internal opening and they wanted to hire immediately,
Okay.
so like they were actively looking for SD interns who can like perform basic SD tasks. So they didn't spend much time on taking two interviews and all. The manager just took 2 hours of long interview in testing my development skills, and that was it. After that, I just had one HR round.
Okay, what was asked in HR round?
In HR round, it was just like she just asked me few non-tech questions like how will I, like she gave me few scenarios and asked me how will I act in those scenarios, how, and asked about my previous experiences as well, how I worked in team, in what all projects I have done, what was my biggest achievement and all.
Okay. And like, what were your struggles before Upstox? I have heard about you that you had like you used to cold mail to 100 companies, 200 companies, and finally
Yeah.
you got this Upstox. So what is the story behind it? Like, what's the complete
Yeah,
scenario?
so uh, in our in the first sem of third year, we have companies that come into college and they hire for SD interns. But I was not shortlisted in any of the companies, so I
Okay.
was kind of frustrated. So at that time, I thought that I should go for off-campus placements, like off-campus openings. So I shortlisted around 300 companies, and then I used to cold mail like around 30 companies per day, so that I can uh, connect with the HRs and all. And also I used to build connections on LinkedIn,
Okay.
because if there's a job opening in any of the company, and if you want to reach out to the HR, you can't just send the connections in one night and then text them the next day, because they should accept your connection, right? At the time I
Exactly.
didn't had the premium account,
Right.
so I was constantly sending all the requests every day on LinkedIn. And around, I think, after 15 days, I started to get a few messages or emails on LinkedIn. So I was referred in around 30 companies, and I was rejected in all 28. But there were last two companies that was left. One was Upstox and one was Slice. So and Slice, there was one issue, like they used Spring Boot,
Okay.
and I had no knowledge about that. But at the same time, I had the offer of Upstox, and they at that time they were using Node.js. So later on they shifted to Spring Boot, but at that time they were using Node.js. So I decided to go with Upstox, as I had the knowledge of Node.js at that time.
Okay. So like most of the
Hmm.
students like learn Node.js, Express.js, MongoDB, React,
Yeah.
JavaScript, all these frameworks only. But are these companies actually using these platforms, using these frameworks, or like we have to do some other stuff itself, like Spring Boot or some Cassandra database, some other frameworks, high level frameworks from the start, or we should start from these basic ones only. Like, what do you think?
No, I think everyone should stick to the basic and have proper knowledge of the fundamentals and all. Because, see, in the long run, the fundamental knowledge will only help you as a developer. See, because when it comes to solving errors and bugs, you need to have in-depth knowledge about that technology. Otherwise, you will just be going to Stack Overflow and searching for errors. How is this solved? And then you will just be copy pasting the code. That
Right.
should not happen. Like if there's an error in your code, you should be able to figure out like what is the actual issue, and only then you can write efficient and faster code.
Okay, okay. And also, like people are usually in confusion that okay, they are learning DSA, but how can
Yeah.
they practically imply those DSA concepts in web development, app development, machine learning, data science? So, how did you apply the DSA that you learned through lead code in web development?
Mhm. So what happens is, see, DSAs, there will be very rare situations when you will need DSA knowledge whenever you are developing any application and all.
Okay, okay,
But there are cases where you want to retrieve data from multiple tables in backend, and you might have to compress all the data in one single entity and all. So in that case, you will need multiple for loops. You might
right.
have nested for loops and all. So if you have proper DSA knowledge, you will be able to optimize the code in such a way that the API response time gets drastically reduced. So if you don't have a DSA knowledge and you are just nesting multiple for loops, your API might end up getting the response time of around 2 seconds. But if you optimize your code, you might get the response time within 50 milliseconds and all.
Okay, so like it's completely a game of time complexity and space
Yeah,
complexity.
yeah.
Okay, okay. So like let's say you have to give. I asked this question to Nidhi also. Like in the
Mhm.
last podcast, she was there with me. So let's say you have to give me five data structures, like which are highly important for interviews.
Okay. So first is
Data
Spring.
structures and algorithms. Five.
Okay. Okay. So data structure and algorithms. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know all the data structures and algorithm, but I will try to give you a couple of them. So linked list, linked list tag queues, trees and graphs. These are five important data structures.
Okay.
And then speaking of algorithms, we have all the sorting algorithms that are important. And then DP. This is the main algorithm that you should know.
Yeah.
Like
DP. Right.
in yeah, in 80% of the companies you will get at least one question from DP.
Okay.
Mm,
Okay.
and then there are other algorithms which are associated with graph only, like DFS, BFS, and all. So
Right. All
yeah,
these concepts are actually there in computer engineering curriculum also, right?
yeah, correct.
Okay. So, and so this was my question regarding DSA and CP. Now, like if we talk more about web development, because you were hired as a web developer and your
Mm-hmm.
interview was also based on web development. So, like, do you think, like, what do you think in 2023, for 2023, is MERNStack the best web framework to learn for the students?
No, I won't say that because see, there are a lot of new frameworks that have come up in the market. For front end, I would say Next.js is the best choice
Okay.
if you want to build a really fast app and a website that can load images in the most optimized manner. I think Next.js is the best choice.
Okay.
And when it comes to backend, I would say if you are a beginner, start with Node.js. But if you want to build some robust applications, switch to Django or Spring Boot because those might be a bit complex at the beginning, but later on you will realize that these are quite fast. Like you might have to write a lot of code, but these are quite fast.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And let's say I have 3 months. Okay.
Hmm.
And I want to excel in web development in these 3 months. Not excel. I'm not hoping to get a proper full-time job offer in these 3 months, but I should be able to get at least one internship. So what should be my roadmap? How should I start? From where should I start? Let's say I'm a first year student. I don't have any knowledge.
Hmm.
I haven't done any web development before. But yeah, I have some programming knowledge. I have done it in class 11th and class 12th. Now, what should be my roadmap if I want to get an internship in web development?
So I would say just practice DSA as much
Okay.
as you can. There are many DSA practice sheets that are available online. Like Striver, he
Okay.
has his own placement uh, sh- uh, sheets of which consists of DSA questions, around 450 questions. I don't know the exact number. And what you can do is side by side you can create one project using any of the technologies or that just stick to one technology, like have it, get in-depth knowledge about that and create one project so that your portfolio gets quite strong. Because if you just add your DSA, like using DSA you can't fill your resume, right? You need to
Exactly.
have some projects in that. And in the interviews you might be asked like what all projects you have done, like what all technologies you have worked on. So there you will have to explain that project.
Okay, like talking about the projects you just mentioned, I was coming to that only.
Hmm.
So, what were your projects? Because being a web developer, being an app developer, we actually have more projects than the people who only do DS and CP. Like
Yeah,
I had filled my resume with just projects when I was sitting
yeah.
for the placements. So, what were your projects, and were they asked in the interview process?
Hmm. Yeah, so even I had my resume filled with just projects. I did not like display any DSA skills in my resume. So I had three projects in total. So I will just discuss the main project that I, explain in all of my interviews. It was an online judge project. So we basically built a coding platform where
Okay.
you can write code, you can test the code, you can run multiple test cases on that, And that project was kind of complex because we used multiple technologies in that. Like you have to build a proper architecture for that project and all. There are multiple entities involved. You have to integrate multiple tech stacks. So that was kind of complex project and especially at the backend side, it was a challenging project for me. So yeah.
Okay. And like apart from coding, what do you do? What are your hobbies?
I like to play football, and I would like to in my free time I would like to roam around the city on my bike.
Okay, okay. So you are a
Mm.
bike rider.
Yeah.
Okay. And what are your future plans? Like, do they also ask like what are your MS plans in the interview? Because in Deutsche Bank they
Mm.
asked like, are you going to pursue MS after some years?
Yeah, no, in Upstox, I don't think they will care about such things because, like, if they ask, you should straight away say no because
Okay,
if you
okay.
say yes, like they will think twice before hiring you because they know that you might leave the company after 1 or 2 years.
Right. And like,
Mm.
what is the like CGPA scenario? Like, do they ask the CGPA or do they
No,
have any CGPA criteria?
no, they don't have any CGPA criteria. See, the hiring is completely based on your skills. If
Okay.
you have good development skills and you have your fundamentals clear, then and they think that you can, contribute to their application in the best way possible, they will hire you. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
And you mentioned that you got this opportunity through LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
So what is the procedure? Like you have to go in the job section and what do you search? Like let's say you are a second year, third year student and now you have to get an internship for curriculum also, college
Mhm.
curriculum. So what is the procedure? You have to go to the job sections and then what do you search?
So first of all, you can look in the job section, but I won't say that like you just have to apply in the job section and then you're done. I would say go to the job section, see if there is any opening in any company, and then after that, what you can do is you can connect with the HR, send them a message or something like that, send them your resume and all, and maybe you will get a response after that and he might consider you for the interviews because what happens is your on in the job section like maybe around 10,000 to 25,000 applications they might get via that portal, so it's
Right.
better to do something else. So if you message HR directly, he won't like go through all the 25,000 applications. He will just consider your resume and then check whether you are a good fit for the role or not.
Okay. And apart from LinkedIn, what are the other methods to get an internship, to get a job?
I personally just use two steps, like two techniques. One is LinkedIn referral, and then another one is cold mailing.
And how do you get referrals?
So for referral, if there's any opening in the company, you can directly message the current employees of the company and ask them whether they would like to refer you. You can send them your resume and what all technical skills you have, and tell them in which year and college you are. They will uh, do a verification and just refer you.
So they are also going to screen our resume, right? Because they are
Yeah,
not going to
yeah,
refer anyone. Yeah, they will
yeah.
select. Okay. So any books you want to recommend for web development, for DSA, for CP, or like
Mm,
online things are more than enough?
Yeah, I don't think anyone would like to read books when it comes to development or because it's kind of boring. But I think the they can take courses on Skillshare or Udemy. And YouTube is anyway the best platform to learn anything.
Okay. Okay, Vedant, like it was really a nice session. We learned a
Yeah.
lot of things. You answered a lot of questions. I think this will be helpful for first year, second year, third year, or even freshers. I think this video will be really helpful for them. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Akshay. Thanks for having me.